Hey guys, R4GE VipeRzZ here and welcome back to episode 14 of my Python 3 series. So in this episode we're going to be going over passing variables between functions. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to create ourselves a new function, and I'm going to name this function number_function. Now inside this function we're first going to create ourselves a new variable called number1, and we're going to set that equal to 5. And then we're going to create ourselves another new variable called number2, and we're going to set that equal to the number 2. Now once we've created our number function, we're now going to create ourselves another function. So I'm just going to create another function called test, and inside this function we're first going to try to print out the number1 variable, and then we're going to try to print out the number2 variable, and then we're going to try to print out the result of adding the number1 and the number 2 variables together. Now at the minute if we save this code and we tried to run it, nothing would happen, and that's because we've not called any of these functions. So I'm going to come down here and I'm going to call the number_function, and then at the end of the number function we're then going to call the test function. So at the minute if we save this code and we try to run it, we would get errors. Now that's because we haven't passed the number1 and number 2 variables from the number function into the test function. So if I try to run this code at the minute, as you can see we get an error. Now if we want to pass the number1 and number 2 variables from the number function to the test function, we first need to come to where we call our test function. Now in here we need to type the name of the functions that we want to pass. So we want to pass the number1 variable, and we want to pass the number 2 variables. Now once we've done that, we then need to come to our test function here, and we need to actually tell the function what it should call the values that are passed into it. So to keep it simple, we're just going to call them number1 and number2, just like the variables were named in the number function up here. So now if we save the code and we try to run it, as you can see it works as expected. So Python loads its code up, it calls the number function, and then it saves the number 5 in the number1 variable, and it saves the number 2 in the number 2 variable. Then it calls the test function here, and then the test function prints out number 1, so 5, and then it prints out number 2, so that's 2, and then it adds them together and prints out the result, so that is 7. Now you don't have to give these parameters here the same name as the variables that you pass through. So if we change this from number to num1 and then to num2, and we change it in the print statements here, I will quickly show you that it will work exactly the same because it doesn't need to be named the same thing as the variables. So if we run this code, as you can see it does the same thing again. Now if we didn't call this variable here, num1, if we put that back to number, we would get an error. So if I try to run this code, as you can see it gets an error. So if we change that back to num1, it's the same as the value that is passed in here. So guys, that's going to be the end of the video. If you liked it, don't forget to like button. If you disliked it, hit the dislike button. Subscribe for more content like this, and I'll see you another time. Bye.